no matter if it's an 88-year-old mama that passes away in the middle of the night, you try to treat each case as if it is a homicide until proven otherwise. Period. End of story. As you said, you get one shot at doing it, and you can be tripped up very easily. I have been tripped up.
Do you have an example of that?
Yeah. I have a great example, as a matter of fact. I had a little old lady, actually, lived in a trailer not too far away from the Atlanta airport, and she lived alone. Her adult son drove a taxi, and he would make the big loop from Atlanta Hartsfield down into the hotel district in downtown Atlanta. So he'd be picking up people, off of planes that are, getting off at Hartsfield. You know what they say about Hartsfield in Atlanta? If you're going to hell, you got to change planes in Atlanta. So, so you hop in the cab. He takes you down, and he just makes a big loop back and forth all day long. And, well, his mother lived in a little trailer park, and nice, neat little home, very, very clean, orderly. And he would stop by every day and have lunch with his mom. Okay. And you could tell the guy, really cared for his mother. He was religious. He would come by and check on her every day. Well, he shows up, and Mama's laying on the sofa in the front room, and she is just kind of reposed there in her, I'll never forget, she had a white cotton ankle length nightgown on with a little embroidery on it. Just looked perfect. And her hands were actually crossed, like you'd see in a casket, which is something that you don't see that. And no, not all dead people close their eyes. So, there's just certain things that you look for. And it was on a Memorial Day. It was on a Memorial Day weekend. And I remember complaining to the young police officer that was there that rolled out on this thing with me, because we thought it was a natural. We were complaining that we were having to work and no one else is having to work. Everybody else is off. And I was having to cover the whole county and the city of Atlanta by myself. I was the only investigator on. We were just belly aching. And I'll never forget this. This is back in the days when we were using 35 millimeter and Polaroids. And it's for the days of digital, but with Polaroids were really cool because you could snap and get an instantaneous, captured image. And I'm steady, we're gabbing back and forth, going on and on. And here this woman is deceased on the sofa. She had a heart history, all these other things. Son's out in the yard. And I take a photograph, and then I've got my gloves on, so I walk over and I said, well, let me take a look at her, and then we can call the funeral home to come out and pick her up. Pulled up her gown, Julian, and she's lying so that her right side is against the back of the sofa, and she's lying like this. And I pulled up her nightgown. She didn't have underwear on, no big deal. Pull it up, and along the adjacent to the right breast, laterally oriented, what you have, you have intercostal muscles that it's the meaty portion of your ribs. Three of those ribs are completely separated and wide open. You could look through to the side and see her lung. She had been sliced open on this side. Her body.
But there was no blood. Okay.
Her body had been cleaned and redressed. And if I'd taken the time to pay attention to my job at that moment in time, I would have thoroughly searched the residence, gone back to the bedroom, found the blood-soaked towels and blanket that they had used to soak up all of the blood. I would have looked in the bathtub to see a little bit of ring of red substance around the drain before I ever opened my mouth about complaining about that I had to work that day. See, I am chief among sinners. I have made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Now, as it turned out, I was able to back the officer out of the room. I backed out. We called CID, came out, and the perpetrator was soon caught. It was a local prostitute and her pimp that had done this. And this little old lady lived in this house. And you know, when you're growing up in a neighborhood, you're around other kids. There's always that one elderly person many times that lives in an area that people will start rumors about, and they'll say, she doesn't use a bank. She keeps all of her money. And that's what they were working upon. And they were able to get a conviction. But, and I could have train wrecked the whole thing.
How long from getting there on the scene to you finding that approximately was that? To you pulling it up and finding that?
Probably within, I'd say probably about 35 minutes.
Okay, so that's still pretty quick. So
it is quick, but here's the problem. I didn't treat this like a homicide. I treated it like this fellow's mother who has a heart history that just simply died. I did not take due care when I entered that scene. I took a half-ass approach to it. And that's the one thing you have to check yourself on constantly in our field, because not every death, as we've stated, is the same. Everything's variable. I can't, thinking back, I don't recall, other than a series, I worked a series of serial killings. One of the series that I worked, particularly, this was a grouping in New Orleans where we had a perpetrator that was redressing bodies. But I've never had it to this extent where they went to the trouble to clean her, essentially bathe her with towels and get up all the blood and everything.
And they left that there.
And they left it there, and then redressed her into a nightgown.
Seems like so much effort for like a really stupid mistake.
Yeah, the criminals are equally as stupid as I am on certain days.
You're not giving yourself enough credit, but still. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.